You know, there really is a special kind of magic in boarding a cruise ship alone. I think it's more of a mix of courage, curiosity, deep desire, if you're trying to reconnect with yourself. Maybe you're trying to reinvent yourself. Whatever the reason is you're deciding to go solo cruising, it does offer you the chance to explore the world on your terms. You don't have to compromise with anybody because it's your show. It is your experience. You choose your pace. You choose your people, if any, and you choose your priorities. That's why I want to share with you maybe some different options here. Ways in which you can squeeze every last drop of joy and freedom and self-discovery out of a solo cruise. Number 1, pick the right cruise line and itinerary. Your experience starts with the cruise line you choose, of course. Some ships do feel like floating parties, while others might be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more wellness focused. Some are even culturally immersive. Solo travelers, we often thrive on ships that are intentionally designed to be inclusive, offering opportunities to connect without any of the pressure. I'd say there are a handful of things you should probably be considering when booking. Solo-friendly cabins, number 1. If you can find a cruise line that really goes the extra mile and even provides solo-specific cabins, not only can you cut a lot of the price out of what you're having to deal with, you also get to be around a lot of other dedicated solo travelers, usually in the same general vicinity. Of course, Norwegian is known for going all in on most of their ships when it comes to solo cabins. I know the studio cabins are very popular, and in addition to that, they're not just designed for solo travelers and come with access to an exclusive solo lounge. They also now have solo balcony cabins on certain ships, so definitely different options for you when you consider booking. If you want to go the other route and try and find perhaps a discounted solo supplement, because not every cruise line is guaranteed to do that. Some do. If you are flexible, I highly recommend Cruise Plum. CruisePlum.com has options for you to take a look at solo traveling rates. Basically, they track everything and then they'll show you exactly what you need to know in terms of which cruise lines are offering discounted supplements. So you're not going to have to pay for that extra person like you normally would, since it's always 2 passengers, 2 guests per cabin usually. So if you're doing a normal cabin, this is a great way to track discounted pricing, really to offer up a solo experience that's far more affordable. I would also say the onboard vibe. Do you want a lively crowd? Some people do. I'd say, if that's the case, look into Royal Caribbean or Virgin Voyages. I was recently shared a question in the comments section of a Virgin Voyages video asking about, is it really just a party scene, or are there areas where I can chill? Are there areas where I can relax? Virgin does a great job of this, by the way. They absolutely have the party scene if you want it, but it's not a raging party 24/7 like I think some people are buying into that concept. I'm not sure why, but that's not the case on Virgin. They do have parties, that's for sure. It is lively. It is an adults-only type cruise, so it's a little different. But I will tell you that when it comes to the idea of wanting to chill out and having spaces for yourself, the ships are set up in a way where the parties stay in the party zone, and the rest of the ship is quiet and fun, and just sort of provides some light social interaction for you. It really is quite something. But if you are looking for just total serenity, like total peace, I would say maybe if you're looking for a refined atmosphere, perhaps go the Holland America or the Oceania route. Those might be more your speed. And when it comes to the itinerary mix, I would say a good mix of sea days and port stops. Of course, keep things balanced. Sea days offer a lot of downtime, and believe it or not, I prefer sea days. I think I'm in the minority. A lot of people love their port stops and getting to get out and experience the culture of things and get out and meet, the locals and stuff. That's fun, don't get me wrong, but I do love me some sea days. There is nothing like being at sea. There is nothing like being out on the open ocean and experiencing true downtime, disconnected from everything. But it's also a great opportunity to meet fellow cruisers, depending on the itinerary. So if it's port heavy, a lot of times fellow cruisers are out doing things. You can do things with those groups. If you book excursions through the ship, a lot of times you can go with sort of a collective to visit whatever it is you are focusing on for the excursion. So all things to consider in picking the right cruise line and itinerary. And don't forget to consider the duration of the cruise, a 7 to 10 day itinerary. It's often ideal for solo first timers. I think it gives you enough time to settle in, enough time to connect and decompress without feeling rushed or too long away. I feel like it is very much a great measuring point. 7 to 10 days. Anything 5 days and less becomes kind of hard to relax in, I've found. I've done those myself and think, at least I'm on a cruise, but it's so rushed and you don't get to experience everything. You really don't get to relax much just because of the hectic nature of it. So 7 to 10 days is what I would recommend. Number 2, make the most of your solo perks. Traveling solo doesn't mean going it alone. Cruise lines increasingly understand that solo travelers want both independence and community. And some ships do now offer daily solo meetups. I see those on a lot of ships nowadays. It's even in sort of the breakdown of activities and events, so it's very public knowledge. Even cocktail hours for solo travelers to help the solo guests on board connect organically. Sometimes these are hosted by cruise lines, specifically. They will send their own staff to help sort of guide these solo meetups. Other times, they're not at all. It's just hey, everybody meet in this one section of the ship, and if you hit it off, great. If you don't, well, see you later. So daily solo meetups have become a way of life now when making the most of a solo perk on board, a way of life here on most ships. I would say solo lounges, places you can relax, sip coffee, chat with others on the same journey. There's nothing quite like it. No doubt the Norwegian cruise line has those solo lounges dedicated to the solo studio sections of their ship. I've been on several, and they're always hopping. They always have things going on, activities set up specifically for solos. It's also a place where, you can connect and get to know people morning, noon, and night. A lot of folks decide to go to dinner together as solo travelers, and they organize it all right there in the lounges. It's also a great place where, if you don't want any of that, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to participate. It's not required. Nobody's going to look down on you. 9 times out of 10, if you stay in a solo studio lounge like I have, and you don't participate in anything, they don't know that you're even there, other than when you walk through the lounge occasionally. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, they're all focused on themselves. They don't see you. They don't notice you unless you introduce yourself and really engage. So if you don't want to, and you want to keep going and keep to yourself, that's up to you too. It's your solo adventure. So if you're introverted and recharging quietly is your gig, do that. But if you are looking for some fun and some socializing, maybe a couple of people to meet and become pen pals with, the solo lounges are a great place to do that. And the waived single supplements or special pricing for solo cruisers, you can usually find this during off-peak seasons more than you can, say, during summertime, spring break, those sorts of madness periods. I would say that when it comes to the off-peak seasons, January, February are great months to get incredible cruise deals. That's usually when I do a lot of my cruising back-to-back, just because I can score so many deals and save a fortune. Again, I direct you to Cruise Plum. They're not a sponsor. I don't know anybody over there, but I often go to them. They are a tremendous resource because they do so much tracking, and it's free to go in and find these things. So fantastic resource. So when you board, I would say visit the guest services desk or check the ship's app to find all of the solo events and offerings, you might discover group dinners, shore excursions just for solos, or maybe even some behind-the-scenes tours that aren't listed online. All things that could be offered up to you as some of the things you can do to make the most of the solo perks. Number 3, say yes to shared experiences. Solo cruising doesn't mean isolating yourself, of course, unless that's your goal. If it is, go for it. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, some of the most enriching parts of cruising solo are the spontaneous connections you'll make. A shared laugh during a trivia night, or maybe some bonding over a wine tasting, even chatting while watching the sunset from the railing. I mean, these are the moments that often define the trip, aren't they? These are the moments that I always end up saying, boy, I should have talked to more people, right? I should have connected with more people. I'm usually running around filming stuff anyway, so I'm kind of in my own world, but it's amazing when people strike up conversations with you, especially when they see maybe you might be solo, or they figure it out once you tell them. A lot of people are fascinated by it, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that are solo on a cruise that you probably don't assume are, right? Nobody knows your story until they start talking to you, so if you want to divulge that, go for it. But you definitely make a lot of great connections on any cruise if you want it. I would say ways to engage comfortably, join a group shore excursion. As I was mentioning a little bit earlier, they're easy entry points for conversation. And of course, you can share exploration. It naturally builds rapport. I always find that by the end of a group shore excursion, you're friends with at least half of the group that you're with. Everybody is sharing a very unique experience. Everybody's very happy to be there. Everybody's really excited about the memories that they're making. So that is certainly something that I would say is a way to engage comfortably. Another tip there, sit at a communal dining table. If that's something that you want to do, ask the maitre d' to sit you with others, especially on nights you feel social. It's great. A lot of times they have a solo table, is what they call it, in most dining rooms. Ask about that. Say, is there a solo table? And you got to clarify, because they might think you mean you want to sit by yourself when you say, is there a solo table? Like for you? No. Is there a table I can sit at with other solo travelers? Does that table exist? They often do. I would also say attend enrichment talks, classes, or dance lessons. These provide great opportunities to meet others with similar interests. I know on Princess, they have a ton of enrichment talks, and I find them fascinating. I feel like I've always been an 80-year-old man at heart, and that is something that it's like walking in and listening to a PBS lecture. But no, the enrichment talks on board Princess are always fascinating, and I relate to a lot of the seniors around me that are also in the enrichment talks. Of course, the dance lessons, the classes on other cruise lines are all things you can take part in, and no doubt connect with everybody else on board. And I'd say here's a secret. Cruisers, they really are incredibly friendly. All it takes is a simple, where are you from, to strike up a great conversation. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's on vacation. Take advantage of that if that's what you're looking for. And on the flip side of that, number 4, embrace the freedom. This is your cruise. This is your time, your energy. You don't have to compromise on anything. And that is the real luxury of solo travel. Give yourself permission to change your plans on a whim. Sleep in? Yeah, do it. You want to skip the formal night and order room service in your robe? Do that, absolutely. Who's going to stop you? Indulge without guilt. You gotta try the new foods, right? Take selfies, book the spa treatment, lounge by the adults-only pool with a mocktail and a book you've been meaning to read. It is all there for you. It's also a great opportunity to choose stillness. Solo cruising can be the ultimate digital detox. Remember how I was saying, I love sea days? This is why right here. An opportunity to truly disconnect, to just be at peace, to just be at one with the open ocean, maybe a beautiful sunrise, and your thoughts. Leave your phone in your room for a day and simply be. Go watch the sea, listen to the waves, feel the breeze. It's an experience unlike anything else. This freedom isn't just what you do, it's about how you feel, free to be yourself without expectations. And finally, number 5, stay safe and smart. Cruise ships are some of the safest travel environments around, but it's still wise to travel with awareness, especially if you are solo. So a couple of tips for you here as a solo cruiser. Number one, check in regularly with someone at home, especially before and after port days. That's a very important piece. Make sure people know where you're at and that you are okay along the journey. Stick with group excursions when exploring unfamiliar ports. Remember how I mentioned that you can book through the cruise line for an excursion and you'll go out with a group from the cruise. That is also benefited by the fact that if you book it through the cruise line, they know where you're going, who your guide is, who provided the transportation, who you're with, and if you don't return for some reason, they have cause for concern and they begin searching immediately. It becomes their problem. So I always suggest booking through the cruise line if you are solo, mainly because if you do excursion that happens to be port specific through the port and not the cruise line, there are no guarantees, and the ship will leave if you don't return in time. Often, if you are booking through the ship with an excursion, not only are they going to make sure you return, if you don't return on time, the ship will wait. It is one of the best perks of booking an excursion through the cruise line. I'd also say use your room safe to store valuables like your passport, your wallet, and electronics, particularly when you're rolling solo. You never know what could happen, so make sure you are locking up the goodies. And I would say just trust your instincts. If someone seems off or an area feels sketchy, it is okay to remove yourself immediately. And finally, limit alcohol if you're out on your own, and you should always know how to get back to the ship safely. Limit alcohol for obvious reasons, right? You're alone. You don't know what can happen if you happen to go over a certain amount of alcoholic intake that can easily manipulate your ability to be aware, to be as sharp as you need to be. On board, have as many as you want. Make sure you can get back to your room okay. You're likely in a much safer place there. But especially when you're out at port, pay particularly close attention to just how many beverages you're having, and make sure you keep them in your immediate vicinity. Nobody's sitting next to you and reaching over, anything like that. You got to empower yourself with knowledge. Attend the muster drill too, know emergency contact info, and familiarize yourself with the ship's layout early. All things that are just probably common sense, but worth the reminder when it comes to being safe and smart as a solo cruiser. You know, your cruise really is your story. Solo cruising is more than a vacation, isn't it? It's just like an act of self-trust to me. It tells the world, it tells yourself that you're worthy of joy. You are worthy of discovery. Meaningful experiences, they matter. And they're all on your own terms. Whether you're a solo traveler or considering your first voyage, know this: the sea doesn't ask who you came with. It simply welcomes you. So I would say, bon voyage, solo sailor. Your adventure awaits. And if you're interested in some of my solo cruise journeys, from start to finish, all the details in between, I'd encourage you to check out the video on the right. Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady, an adults-only spectacular cruise you need to know about, or the video on the left, Carnival Firenze, where I had a great time plussing things up for my experience, but had a hard time sleeping due to some strange bumps in the night. We'll see you next time on The Solo Cruiser.